A fearful mind is a catalyst for awakening. Posted on November 22nd, 2011. If you notice, it's not the negative thoughts that are the problem, but the feeling it generates that causes suffering. Feelings are linked with thoughts because a feeling is generated by whether a thought is in resistance to your life stream or it's aligned with it. If a thought is in resistance to your life stream, it creates a bad feeling. When it's in alignment, it creates a good feeling. Also, when you're free of thoughts, you automatically dwell in your natural vibration, which is akin to a feeling of calm, peace, joy. When a negative thought has a lot of momentum, it can create severe resistance and thus create overwhelming feeling of suffering as compared to a thought which lacks momentum. When your mind as a whole ebbs away in momentum, as you stay in a space of passive awareness, allowing it to run out of fuel, you'll notice that its negative thoughts don't have the same punch anymore. They don't create any intense feelings in you. This allows you to experience your natural vibration of joy in an unhindered manner. It's like becoming free from a prison created by the mind. A fearful mind with high momentum creates intense suffering. Some minds are way more prone to fear than other minds, owing to their very makeup. Such a mind keeps hinging on fear no matter what the circumstances are, even in relatively pleasant surroundings and life situations. It will find any reason to fear, sometimes even reasons which lack logic of any form. If you're born with such a mind, and when your awareness becomes lost in such a mind, you unconsciously fuel its momentum through identification. A fearful mind with a strong momentum becomes extremely dysfunctional owing to the powerful resistance it creates in your life stream, leading to intense feelings of emotional suffering. Even in the animal kingdom, you'll observe that some animals are naturally brave, while some are naturally meek and fearful. This is because of the natural makeup of their brain, or rather, their body's genetic makeup as a whole. In the same way, some humans are naturally more fearless. Their brain's makeup allows them to stay free of a lot of fears. They may also be less prone to emotional dependence and will not exhibit oversensitive behaviors. It's totally futile to try to change a mind's natural makeup because it's hardwired, like an internal coding. Anyone with a fearful mind who has tried to change it into a brave mind knows what a losing battle it is. You can pretend for a while, but sooner or later your mind will exhibit its natural makeup. Is it unfair to be dealt a fearful mind? It may seem that a fearful brain or a brain less prone to fear It may seem that a fearless brain or a brain less prone to fear would be the ideal brain to have, because it seems to allow for a more pleasant life experience. But in truth, an unconscious brain always lacks wisdom, and its fearlessness can lead to committing acts that may have negative reflections. A fearless mind does not automatically become a hate-free mind. So it's not whether a mind is fearful or fearless that makes for a life of well-being. It's your level of consciousness that matters. Moreover, diversity is inherent in our physicality, and in the absence of a diversity of minds, the different natural makeups of the mind, there is no diversity in experience. The very reason for manifesting physicality is for consciousness to have a variety of experiences in various forms. So a fearful mind is just one flavor of diversity created by the intent of consciousness to experience life in a unique way. A human possessing a fearful mind may find this extremely unfair and would rather prefer to be born with a more fearless mind, but such a human would need to realize the potential that his or her mind has to awaken, and also the unique expression and experience that it brings forth, especially after awakening. Also, from the absolute perspective, there is no question of fairness or unfairness, because it's all the one consciousness taking different forms. When there's just one, who is unfair to whom? If you have a fearful mind, take it as a blessing that allows you to wake up to your true nature and your wholeness, thus embarking on a totally new experience of life. A human with a fearful mind has a greater chance of awakening. Jesus was implying to this truth when he said, "The meek shall inherit the kingdom of God." What he meant was a person with a meek mind or a fearful mind is who is more likely to let go of it and awaken to his or her truth as a universal being, and thus become privy to their natural vibration of joy. It's not true that it's easier to awaken from sleep when you're having a nightmare than when you're having a pleasant dream. If Buddha did not have a strongly fearful mind that got terribly scared when he saw disease and old age, he wouldn't have gone on to seek enlightenment to be free of the suffering. Some might argue saying that it's better to have a pleasant dream than to wake up through a nightmare, but such a person does not recognize the difference between the experience of being awakened and being unconsciously lost in the mind. A person with a strong mind, a fearless mind, might be lost in his or her mind for a lifetime without ever awakening to their true identity. They may seem to have a good life, but their experience is one of a sleeping dream. What would you prefer? A sweet dream while you're lost in sleep, or to create a dream in your wakeful state? When you're awake, the experience of life is totally different than when you're asleep. After awakening, you will continue to create realities, metaphorically, dream realities, but your experience will be totally different than when you were lost in the mind. Moreover, there will be wisdom in your movements, unlike when you're unconsciously pulled around by the mind. The experience of living life in an awakened manner is totally different from the experience of living life unconsciously. You can't change your mind's natural makeup, but you can change your experience. When you awaken to your truth, your position of reference changes from being identified with the mind to resting as a space of awareness. This causes the mind to lose its power over your vibration. The mind continues to be fearful, but now you're no longer fueling it with your focused attention as you stay as a space of passive awareness. Within a few months, the mind no longer has the old intensity to it because it's no longer getting its fuel from your attention. Slowly and surely, the mind starts losing its momentum until it becomes very subtle and silent. And what starts to operate is the intelligence of the wholeness of your being. Also, when the mind loses its momentum, you no longer have any intense feelings in you because there is no strong resistance anymore. As you merge more into your spaciousness, you find a permanence in your natural vibration, which starts feeling like a calm joy, which is undeterred by the mind's movements as they don't have much intensity. When your awareness disidentifies with the mind, it automatically loses its power or intensity. It no longer disturbs your vibration. It no longer touches your being. Also, a balance starts coming into the mind, which allows for a positive expression of all the dimensions present in it. The natural makeup of your mind is retained for a lifetime, but in a place of conscious balance, it's never a problem. There are 6 dimensions in the mind: joy, fear, boredom, hatred, love, sexuality. And every dimension has some positive aspects to contribute. For example, a mind whose natural makeup is to have a dominant fear dimension, when in balance, allows for the positive aspects of this dimension like sincerity, humility, and devotion, while being free of imbalance, overwhelming fear identification. Imbalance and fear happens only when one is unconsciously lost in it. The mind can have its natural makeup while not being a problem to your being, because now it's in a balance.